Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Barbara McQuaid, Attack from Within: How Disinformation is Sabotaging America. Have you ever stopped to consider the profound impact that disinformation has on American society? In an era when information flows freely, often without filter or scrutiny, how can we discern truth from falsehood? The path to preserving our cherished democratic values is not an easy one, mired in the corrosive effects of disinformation and the exploitation of our nation's vulnerabilities. Yet, as you ponder these weighty questions, a glimmer of hope emerges. For the very essence of our liberty rests in our collective ingenuity and resilience. In this blink, you'll embark on a journey that unveils the intricate tapestry of disinformation, tracing its evolution from historical manipulation tactics to the digital age's high-tech campaigns. Through an exploration of the underlying forces at play and the inextricable link between disinformation and the erosion of voting rights, you'll gain an understanding of the stakes at hand. Armed with this knowledge, you'll be better equipped to navigate the turbulent waters of public discourse, safeguarding the foundations of democracy with truth, vigilance, and an unwavering commitment to the principles that define us. Ready? Let's get started. Disinformation through the ages. In a world increasingly clouded by the fog of disinformation, the journey from the historical manipulation tactics of authoritarian regimes to today's digital age threats to democracy reveals a disturbing yet fascinating story. It's a story of deceit, one that stretches from the gaslit corridors of Victorian London to the high-tech disinformation campaigns of the 21st century, demonstrating how manipulation of the truth has evolved into a sophisticated art form. The dark genius of such tactics? They don't seek only to deceive. They can also have a profound impact on democracy, public trust, and the very fabric of societal consensus. Where did this all begin? It turns out that the roots of modern disinformation can be traced back to age-old strategies such as those employed in the classic tale Gaslight by the character Gregory Anton, who systematically manipulates his wife Paula into doubting her own sanity. This chilling strategy mirrors the broader, more insidious tactics used by authoritarian figures throughout history, from Stalin's photo erasures to Hitler's propaganda campaigns. These historical instances of disinformation were not mere aberrations, but precursors of the lies and manipulations that threaten the very heart of democratic institutions today. The evolution of disinformation reveals a disturbing adaptation to the digital era. Today's disinformers wield the internet and social media as their primary tools, amplifying their reach and impact to previously unimaginable extents. The tale of the Trojan horse, a symbol of ancient deception, finds its modern parallel in the false narratives and alternate truths peddled by leaders like Vladimir Putin, who has leveraged social media platforms to disseminate divisive content. His aim? To influence elections and fracture societal unity, as seen in the orchestrated efforts to meddle in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. His goal is to sow confusion and erode public trust in factual evidence, and even in reality itself. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of modern disinformation is its ability to inure populations to lies, creating a cynicism that erodes the foundation of democratic debate and decision-making. This phenomenon, known as the liar's dividend, emerges when the relentless barrage of untruths breeds a pervasive skepticism, leading to a resigned acceptance of dishonesty as a common trait among politicians. This dangerous resignation not only normalizes deceit, it also eats away at the essential pillars of accountability that sustain a healthy democracy. Flooding the public sphere with misinformation allows those who deceive to benefit from lowered expectations regarding truthfulness, undermining trust in both the political process and the veracity of public discourse itself. In dissecting the anatomy of disinformation, from the simplicity of its messaging to the strategic repetition of lies, it becomes clear that the battle for truth is not merely an academic debate, but a fight for the soul of democracy. As disinformation tactics become more refined and embedded in the fabric of daily life, understanding their history, evolution, and impact is not just an intellectual exercise, but a democratic imperative. The journey from gaslighting to the digital age's disinformation reveals a stark warning. The greatest threat may come from within, challenging us to confront and disarm these tactics with truth, vigilance, and a steadfast commitment to democratic principles. The silent war within America's borders. In our survey of the landscapes of democracy, we arrive at a profound truth. The very essence of our liberty and collective aspirations is under threat. And it's not just a story of foreign adversaries like Putin. It's a tale of internal strife, where the bastions of freedom are besieged from within by the shadows of disinformation and the erosion of voting rights. At the heart of this is the weaponization of disinformation, a tool not wielded by distant foes, but by actors within our own borders. These agents of chaos exploit the strengths of American democracy, turning the principles of openness and free speech against the fabric of the nation. It's a form of warfare not of arms, but of information, in which the battlegrounds are not fields, but the minds of the people. The first point of reflection in this journey is the recognition of how America's constitutional devotion to free speech, while a cornerstone of democracy, has become a double-edged sword. Our legal and cultural landscapes, designed to protect the marketplace of ideas, now struggle under the weight of falsehoods masquerading as truth. Take the unfounded claims of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election, for instance. These were aimed to undermine trust in America's electoral system, as well as to foster doubt and discord among the electorate. Similarly, misinformation regarding COVID-19 vaccines has exacerbated public health crises, sowing division and skepticism regarding scientific consensus and health guidelines, thereby endangering lives and impeding collective efforts to combat the pandemic. Both of these examples underscore the tangible consequences of disinformation, as it manipulates public perception and erodes the fundamental trust that democracy and societal well-being rest upon. As we delve deeper, we also encounter the stark vulnerabilities within the American electoral system, vulnerabilities laid bare by the relentless assault on voting rights. This is not merely an attack on a process, but an affront to the fundamental principle that every voice should be heard and every vote counted. The manipulation of electoral laws and the undermining of trust in the electoral process reveal a disturbing strategy: to disenfranchise and divide, to sow doubt where there should be certainty. One way this is happening is the ever-increasing requirement of photo ID for voting. This measure, ostensibly aimed at preventing voter fraud, has the practical effect of disproportionately disenfranchising voters from marginalized communities, often those who might struggle to obtain such ID. The real impact is a quieter, yet still potent form of voter suppression, subtly undermining the principle that every voice should have equal weight in the democratic chorus. In confronting these challenges, we must not lose sight of the underlying forces at play. The exploitation of America's democratic vulnerabilities is not a random act of subversion, but a calculated effort to reshape the political landscape. It is a testament to the power of disinformation as a weapon, one that threatens to erode the very foundations of democracy. From online falsehoods to real-life violence. We are now facing a stark reality, one where disinformation not only endangers the integrity of our public discourse, but also poses a direct threat to public safety and national security. This rising tide of misinformation is now front and center in our politics. It amplifies divisions, fuels hate crimes, and rots the very pillars of democracy. And as we delve deeper into the shadows cast by these challenges, we encounter instances that are not merely alarming, but that serve as a wake-up call for immediate action. It turns out that disinformation is leading to real-world violence, and a fracturing of community bonds. This concern isn't unfounded, but rather a grim reflection of the path we're on. Disinformation cloaked as truth has emboldened extremists and stoked division, and is steadily eroding the sense of unity that knits our society together. This stark warning signals the gravity of the situation, emphasizing that if this trajectory continues unchecked, it could lead to tragic outcomes, underscoring the urgent need for vigilance and action against the spread of false information. Take, for example, the harrowing scene outside the home of a Michigan public official. She was targeted due to her role in certifying election results that were contested by false narratives alleging widespread electoral fraud. These baseless claims were amplified through social media and other digital platforms, culminating in a mob gathering outside the official's residence. The armed protesters, misled by disinformation, sought to intimidate and exert pressure on her to reverse or question the legitimacy of the election outcomes. This episode unfolded in the aftermath of the 2020 U.S. presidential election, a period marked by unprecedented assaults on the electoral process through the spread of misinformation. It serves as a stark example of how fabrications can escalate into real-world threats, undermining the security of individuals tasked with upholding democratic processes and eroding public trust in the integrity of elections. This incident, among countless others, underscores the urgency with which we must address the proliferation of false narratives that endanger not only individuals, but the very essence of public trust and safety. Moreover, the threat extends beyond domestic borders, compromising national security. Disinformation serves as a tool for both internal and external adversaries, exploiting societal divisions and distracting from genuine threats. The specter of stochastic terrorism, in which public figures through their rhetoric may inspire acts of violence, looms large, illustrating the dangerous intersection of misinformation and radicalization. Innovating solutions for a democratic future. In our final strides across the plains of disinformation and the preservation of democracy, we arrive at a pivotal juncture. The realization that the key to safeguarding our democratic values and public safety lies not in external interventions alone, but in harnessing the boundless potential of human ingenuity and collective action. It's a journey that calls for a deep dive into the reservoirs of innovation, policy reform, and societal engagement, reminding us of the remarkable feats humanity has achieved when faced with monumental challenges. Drawing from a rich history of recent achievements, from the dramatic reduction in childhood mortality rates to the monumental success of the moon landing, we are reminded of our inherent capacity to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. This perspective is crucial as we confront the dual threats of authoritarianism and disinformation, which, if left unchecked, threaten to unravel the very fabric of our society. This narrative underscores the imperative to act decisively, to embrace the complexities of this battle with a mindset that seeks solutions as diverse and dynamic as the challenges we face. Central to this approach is the recognition of the intrinsic power of education and public engagement. By fostering an environment that promotes critical thinking, media literacy, and an informed electorate, we cultivate a society resilient to the corrosive effects of disinformation. This involves not only equipping individuals with the tools to discern truth from falsehood, but also encouraging a culture of curiosity and lifelong learning. The emphasis on education extends beyond the classroom, encompassing a broad spectrum of community and online spaces where dialogue and debate are encouraged and diverse perspectives are valued. In parallel, the narrative champions the cause of legislative and regulatory reform as a means to rein in the sources of disinformation while safeguarding the principles of free expression and privacy. From amending Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act to introducing transparency in online political advertising, the call for a balanced approach to regulation reflects a nuanced understanding of the digital landscape and the intricate dance between freedom and responsibility. This legal framework, coupled with initiatives to authenticate online identities and regulate the use of algorithms, forms a bulwark against the tide of misinformation that threatens public trust and social cohesion. The quest to preserve democracy and confront disinformation is not solely the domain of governments and institutions, however. It is, fundamentally, a collective endeavor that requires the engagement and participation of every citizen. This realization brings us to the role of civic engagement and the power of community in fostering a vibrant, inclusive, and informed democracy. From supporting local journalism to participating in civic groups and public forums, the actions of individuals can ripple through the fabric of society, reinforcing the foundations of democracy and nurturing a culture of transparency, accountability, and mutual respect. As we navigate the complexities of the digital age, the challenge before us is not only to counter the immediate threats posed by disinformation, but also to envision and work toward a future in which democracy, enriched by the diversity of its voices and the strength of its institutions, flourishes. It is a future that we can achieve through the collective will and ingenuity of the people, a testament to the enduring spirit of democracy that thrives not in the absence of challenges, but in our resolve to overcome them together. In this link to Attack from Within by Barbara McQuaid, you've learned that disinformation isn't just about misleading the public. It's a profound challenge to democracy itself. From historical manipulations to today's digital onslaught, the battle of falsehood has evolved dramatically. You've seen how tactics like the spread of fake news and the undermining of electoral processes can erode the very foundation of public trust and safety. Crucially, the fight to preserve democracy demands a blend of education, legislative reform, and active civic engagement. Embracing our collective capacity for innovation and critical thinking, we stand poised to counter disinformation, fostering a society in which truth prevails and democracy thrives. And hey, thank you so much for listening. See you in the next blink. Bye.